Oh, one of the best things about living in Seattle is that you're 15 minutes away from the water, so right near the Sound, and you're only 45 minutes away from the mountains. And that works really well for me because I love to snowboard. That's my all-time favorite sport. And one of the great things about snowboarding is just waking up in the morning and getting down the mountain on fresh powder. But I actually grew up in North Carolina in the southeast, and needless to say, we don't have a lot of snow in North Carolina. So it wasn't until I moved to Seattle until I learned to snowboard. And I remember the first time I went out to Snoqualmie Pass, which is the ski resort right next to Seattle, and strapped on a board, got the hang of it, and after an hour or two, I was feeling pretty confident. Right, I was on the beginner slopes, and I was curving and turning left and right, and the friends I went up with said, "Hey, you're looking really good. Will you come up with us?" I said, "Sure." Is it hard? And I said, "No, it's a little bit harder than this, but you'll be fine." And so they, take me up to the lift, and if you're a skier, you know that lifts are graded by how difficulty. So green is the easiest, blue is intermediate, and black is the hardest. And so they took me up and sent me down a double black. And I went over, and then I realized at that point in time that none of the skills that I had at the bottom mattered anymore, right? Because it was super steep, and the snow was deep, and there were moguls everywhere. And so none of I couldn't carve, I couldn't turn, and all I could do was basically scrape my way down the mountain, which they thought was hilarious. But the reason I bring this story up is I think a lot of services firms sort of feel the same way, that the things they did when they were small, when they were a little firm, don't really scale when they start to grow, when they start to increase their business. And they need to have tools and processes that grow with them, that handle that larger capacity. So a lot of customers that I work with have a lot of ad hoc processes, and then they really need to grow. And so I'm going to show how Dynamics AX 2012 really helps services firms grow and helps them be their best. So I'm Brian Welker. I'm the Group Program Manager on the Dynamics AX engineering team. So my team has really focused on project-based organizations. So in professional services, in accounting, in construction, really just project-focused businesses. So the last 4 years I've been working on the product to really improve it over time to make it really better for project-focused organizations. And so for the next hour, I'm primarily going to be demonstrating the product, and then we'll have some time for your questions before I wrap up. I'll also spotlight along the way the enhancements specific to R2. So for those of you, can I get a show of hands who's using AX today? Real quick. Excellent. So how about versions 2009, 2012, and R2? Excellent, excellent. Well, hopefully you'll all be moving to R2 quickly, but I will point out along the way the new things that we've added. So to illustrate some of the features in the product, I'm going to use a fictitious professional services organization. This is our friends at Contoso Consulting. They're sort of our poster child organization. Now, Contoso started out as a small organization, just a handful of consultants and project managers, and over time they grew up quite a bit. They were successful. They got a reputation for delivering projects on time with high quality. So they started ramping up hiring, and they actually acquired 2 other firms. They wanted to expand their global reach, so they acquired one in the UK and one in France. So they have 2 subsidiaries now, and lots more employees. But their business isn't really scaling. Their IT isn't scaling with them. So their project plans are ad hoc. Some of the project managers use Excel. Sometimes they use Microsoft Project. But there's just lots of files sitting around, and it's really up to the project managers to think, oh yeah, I've done that project in the past, and here's what it was sort of like. So they're having trouble getting accurate estimates. They don't have a lot of visibility into resources, so they keep their resources up on a SharePoint site, and It's sort of, hey, is the consultant, is Tricia ready for a new engagement? But now they've got resources all around the world that they need to engage as well. So they've got French resources, they've got resources in the UK. So they don't have visibility into those calendars and those schedules. All their time reporting is done manually. So someone's put in Excel spreadsheets, they pull that up and pull it into a Word template for invoicing. Now, of course, that leads to inaccurate invoices. That leads to customers saying, hey, that's not the correct billings. Those aren't the right hours. So their customer base is rumbling. Now, fortunately, Contoso is investing in Dynamics AX to solve some of these problems. And if we look at some of the employees in Contoso, obviously there's a full organization here, but the ones we really think about for project-focused companies. So this is Michael. He's an account manager, and he's all about getting proposals out to clients. So he's got to be able to quickly create a quotation, working with the project managers. He's got to make sure that once he bids a job that he's got the resources to actually deliver. He doesn't want to commit to something that they can't do. And he wants to be making sure that he's going after profitable opportunities. He's not chasing work that in the end is not going to return an investment. Michael works a lot with Prakash. This is the project manager. And he needs to take those proposals, those proposals, and turn those into projects. Get the project started, get the resources on the ground running, manage the scope over time. Obviously, projects change. He needs to be able to adjust the scope. And then he has to make sure that all the time and expense are getting accurately recorded. Any items, materials are all getting accurately recorded to have an accurate invoice. Tricia's the team member, so she's the one doing the work, working directly with the client. She's reporting her task status back to Prakash. Things are going well, things are not going well. And then she's recording her time and expense to make sure that the covered expenses get back to the invoice. And finally, June. So June is our practice manager. She's really responsible for the practice as a whole and making sure that it's operating smoothly. Now, she doesn't necessarily know every single project that's going on, so she has to rely on some key performance metrics. She has to be able to look at the business as a whole, and then when she sees things going badly, she can jump in and act. So she's really looking for those trends. So these are just some of the employees that we think about when we're delivering our solution for service industries. So as you probably know, we released the latest version of Dynamics AX last fall, and that was the AX2012 R2. And there's some key pieces in here. I'll go over lots of features, but one of the key things is that we now have a single product released in all 36 markets. And in AX2009, the way that localization worked is you could really only run in one country at a time. And now we have a single product that's context aware, that's locale aware. And that means, one is that all of your customizations, no matter where your business goes, anything that you build will work on that single product. Anything you extend or customize the product, that customization will work anywhere. You don't have to worry about, hey, now I have to go handle Brazilian taxes, and I have got to go change all my customizations. So it's really nice to have a single product with all of those markets. We also fully integrated the add-on for professional services. So originally, the PSA module was something separate that we delivered on top of Dynamics AX. And in 2012 and in R2, we fully integrated that with the core product. So there's no difference between the base product and the professional services, the project-based product. It's just seamlessly integrated. And then finally, there's a whole set of enhancements that have gone into the product. Not as much change as it was in 2012, but lots of incremental nice things. And a lot of these enhancements actually came out from suggestions from you guys, from customers and partners, from events like Convergence, from service requests, from email or posting on the web. So we do read all of the feedback, and so I thank for those of you who have given us suggestions. We do listen. We can't always address them right away, but we do try to get those into the next version. So with that, we're going to kick off the demonstration. And I'm going to really do 3 demonstrations. The first one will focus on the opportunity, sort of moving from the proposal phase into creating the project and contract, so solidifying the deal once it's done. So that's the first demonstration. The second demonstration is all about managing the project. So scheduling, the budget, time and expense, any subcontractors that we need on the project. So that'll be the second demonstration. And then the third demonstration is about billing and accounting, all of the complexity that comes with billing, and then reviewing the performance. So now that we've gone through the project lifecycle, how do we see the performance of the business as a whole? So I'll show you some of the business intelligence features that we've built in to Dynamics AX. All right, so let me switch over here. All right, so this is actually the role center from a project manager standpoint. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the presentation, so I'm just going to jump into the project module. So you'll see a lot of things here. I'm running as an administrator just so that I have full capabilities, but most users, we do have a role-tailored experience, so the system will adapt to whether you're a project manager or an account manager. We'll sort of shrink down the options that you have. So I'm going to go into actually build out a work breakdown structure template. So I've got business that we do quite a bit, so I'm going to go over into the templates. And we see here we've got some templates. I'm going to go create a new template, and we'll call this website. And so the template editor comes up, and this is going to be a really simple one, so we're just going to create a couple of tasks here. So just to break down the work. Now, this is not for a specific project. This is just more in general, getting my plan in the system here. So we'll call phase 1 design, and then we'll call phase 2 develop. Oops. And phase 3 we'll call testing. So one of the things I can do now is to go back and do some scheduling resource assignments. So I can say, let's say this is going to be 40 hours over 5 days. And I can also estimate any costs and revenues. We've got some enhancements coming where we'll generate these automatically, but this is effectively my detailed forecast. So I'm going to put an hour in for, we'll leave it for program management, and we'll say 40 hours. So the pricing will come in automatically based on the category I've picked here. So $350, so $14,000 here. We might also have some travel. Oops. I have to put in the line property, which says, hey, this is going to be a billable cost. I could have both billable and non-billable time on the project. And we're going to go in and add, add an expense here. So we've got some travel. We'll just use travel category, and we'll put one trip, and we'll put a $400 for the trip here. So just coming up with my estimates here, and this will also be a billable item. So I can do the same thing for the other task as well. And one of the things I can also do is put a set of resource requirements. So in this case, I can say this development resource, I need a certain skill set. And we'll use this later when we go out and look at the resources available. So in this one, I'm going to say I need a .NET developer. And I can put in project experience, certifications, any other attributes. This one's going to be 80 hours over 10 days. And then we'll add another estimate down here for hours. And this one will be, we'll use this one as ERP development. We'll do 80 hours here and come out with our cost and sales price. So this is just really building out the template here that I'm going to use later. And of course, I didn't set my line property defaults beforehand, so I have to pick that. All right, so now I've got my new template that I can use on any project. I can either use it at the quote level, or I can use it at the project level. So I'm going to use it at the quote level here. We'll go back to the area page. and we'll look at project quotations. And this will show me my existing quotations as well as let me create a new one. So let's go ahead and create a new one here. We can either make a quotation for a prospect, a prospective customer, or for a current customer. So we'll just use a current customer here. And we'll say the catalog store is our customer, and they need a new website. So we'll say OK. We won't create an opportunity record to track, but so now I'm going to build the WBS for this particular quotation, and I could build it from scratch, but since I've built that template, I'm just going to bring it in from the template, and we'll use the website template that we just made. So it'll pull in, it'll adjust based on the start date of the project, it'll adjust all the dates, and so you can see here I've got all of the same hours. I've got the estimated cost down here. So I'll just pull that in from the template. So I can make any modifications that were specific to this project. In this case, I'm just going to generate the details. So generate all of the details. Now, the way I present this might be a summarized, just a single line. I might get into the details. I might supply the work breakdown structure with the customer. So I get a lot of ways to format the quotation, the proposal. In this case, I'm just going to submit this quotation, but first I'm going to take a look at the estimates. So I can get a quick snapshot of the estimates as well. So I've got some expense. I'm not going to make any money off the expense, but I will make money off of the labor on this project. So let me submit that one here. And of course, I forgot to turn on the workflow. So real quick, this is, if you've seen any AX demonstrations, we all have to turn on the workflow processor here, so we're going to speed things along. Normally this runs on the server, but we're just going to kick it off. So the quotation workflow routes the quote to whoever needs to approve it. So you might send it to the practice manager or someone else who's going to look at whether this opportunity is a good one, whether we should move forward with the quotation, and then they're going to approve that. In this case, I think my workflow has auto-approve, so we'll just take a look. So you can see now that it's been approved, so now it's in a state where I can actually generate it and send it to the customers. Now we're actually going to generate the document. We could send that out via PDF. So I'm going to generate the quotation. And then I've got a different set. As I mentioned, we've got different quotation formats. We've got summarized by transaction type, project categories. You can also build your own quotation documents and use those for formatting. In this case, I'm going to skip printing, and we're just going to go ahead and send that to the customer. So we've negotiated. We've won the deal now. It's been sent, and we're going to turn this into a project now. So we're going to confirm. Confirm the quotation, and now it's confirmed. So now we've got a confirmed quotation in the system, and we can operationalize that by transferring it to a project. So this can be done typically by the project manager. So we're going to kick this off. We'll take all the details from the quotes and move it into the actual project. So we'll create a new project. We'll pull all that work breakdown structure information so we don't have to start again. Then we get to say, how are we going to bill for this project? So this is going to be time and materials. We'll create a new contract with our customer here, and the contract is just a unit of billing, so I can have multiple projects all going against the same contract to create a single invoice here. And then I'll set some accounting settings there, the project group. We'll pull these over into the forecast, so those forecasted information we'll pull into our original forecast. Then I can later use that forecast to build out my budget, as well as compare any changes later to the original forecast. So we finished that. And we've now copied and created the project. So we'll just close the quotation here, and we'll go over to the projects list page to see our new project. So there he is down at the bottom, the catalog store project. I can change the name there. Really easy to take the information that we generated during the quotation and transfer that into the project. Now I'm going to create another project here just to show you can go directly to a project. You don't have to go through a quotation. I just say I want to do in this case, I'm going to do a fixed price project. And we'll pick a new contract here. Let's say we're going to do a project for the brakes and gears customer. We'll call this brakes upgrade. So one of the things that we did change in the R2 release, so we'll put this on a fixed price with percent of complete. So that's, we hid some of the accounting pieces that you had to know. So in the original version in 2012, we asked you to create what's called an estimate project, which is the revenue recognition project. But we really are trying to make it easy for the folks on the operational side not really to have to worry about the accounting and hold all that accounting information and the mappings to the ledger in a separate set of settings. So don't really have to see any of that. So we'll just simply say OK. And we've got our new project here. So either from the quote or directly from the project. Now, one of the things I might want to do is go out and do some scheduling here. So I might want to assign some people to this project that I've just created. And we have two levels of scheduling. You can either schedule at the project level as a whole, so I just want to have a set of resources on the project, or I can go down to the specific task level. I can assign resources to the task. In this case, I'm just going to do it as a project as a whole. So let's say this is an 80-hour project that's going to run over 10 days. And now I can go out and look for some people that I want to pull onto the project. So there's a list of resources that have been registered into the system, the list of workers here. And I could filter that down by changing the search criteria. So this is currently everyone. There's no skill fit because I haven't asked for any skills. So now I say, I really want someone with, let's do planning. And we can set the requirements, and we can go out and search. And we get a different set of skill fits. So these are now the workers who actually have that planning skill on their record. And the other thing you can see here is that the set of workers is actually not only from, let me clear all that one up. Maybe we don't have any planners in the French subsidiary, but yeah, that's fine. So we'll actually see resources from USSI, which is our U.S. company. Come on. I'm not sure why we're not seeing. Oh, there we go. So there's some of our French workers, and they're also available. So you can restrict that by either saying, I don't want to show people only in the current legal entity, only employed by this company, or I want to broaden the search out to a larger scope. If you see someone there that you'd like and they're not available, in this case where everyone's available, you can also look at the assignment details. You can look at some things about that resource. This one doesn't have any skills at the moment. But you can drill in to see the workers, and then I can say, I want to take, we'll take, let's see, okay, and we'll say we want to take your full capacity here. So we'll say, yep, you're going to be fully assigned to this project, and that blocks out Mary Kay's calendar here. So that's the project level resource assignments, and then that worker will see then on their, for example, on their timesheet, they'll see they're assigned to the project. They are also added to if you're using security and you don't want people entering time against the wrong project, we'll automatically set up the validation of that worker. So I'm going to go back to my other project here, the one I created before, the catalog store project, and show you a little bit of, actually I'm going to show you a little bit of the resource assignments here. So this is if I'm going to do it the task level resource assignment. So in this case, I can actually go down to the individual task level when it's going to happen, once again using that same search criteria, but then I can see the different people that are available here. So Anne's available. She's got the skills that I'm looking for, and I'm going to go ahead and book her as well. We also support soft booking, so you can, for example, especially at the opportunity phase, you can soft book resources. That doesn't block out their calendars, but it lets other people know that resource is going to be needed for an upcoming project. So I've got some resources assigned. I could continue to modify the work breakdown structure, but what I'm going to do now is actually create a budget here. And so I might want to take all of the detailed estimates and pull those into a budget, and then I can make some for measuring my financial performance. So I'm going to pull in this case, I'm going to pull in from the forecast. Come on. Yeah. Why is it not doing? Sorry about that. Okay. Drop down didn't work there, but so what we've got here is a set of costs in here. So this is sort of my baseline. I can go in and modify these. Maybe I want to give myself some more breathing room. I want to bucket up the cost, or maybe I want to add some lines here. So I can go in and let's say I want to do some subcontracting work. So we'll say this is an item, and we'll say category, subcontractor, and we'll put in $5,000 worth of subcontracting. So just setting the baseline budget, then I can use that for my cost control. So now I'm going to submit this budget here. And once again, using the AX workflow, that's forwarded to whoever needs to approve the project budget. You can have customize whatever rules you want. Maybe under a certain threshold, you don't necessarily care about getting approval, and above a certain threshold, you want to go through the entire process. In my case, I've turned on auto approval, so all my budgets get approved, and so we can actually see on the budget balances form, we can see the approved budget. So now I'm all ready. I can start spending some money on this project. So I'm going to close out of the budget, and we're going to put this one into operation. So we'll set the project stage to in process. So up to this point, it's just been in planning. I can't actually log any time or expenses or items against the project, so I have to turn it into in process, and then it's open to all of the workers to be able to log their time. So just to wrap up the first part of the demo here. You saw really all the way from initiating a project, building out the proposal, to turning it into an actual operational project. Some of the enhancements that we've done in R2. Oh, I did want to show you that one. So here in the project list, we've given you the ability to sort of look at projects not only in your legal entity, but out in other legal entities as well. So we built a structure here and says, okay, the consulting practice rolls up the French subsidiary, and then the IT consulting, management consulting is in France. So I can take a look at projects not only in this legal entity, but across other legal entities. Now, projects are still in R2, they're still under a single legal entity. So all the billing, all the revenue, all the costs will come out of that legal entity, but it does give you a broader visibility into what's going on in other parts of the organization. So some other things, some support, better support for fixed price projects. You saw intercompany resource scheduling. We've really simplified the resource assignment experience if you've been using the original PSA product. And then project validation, automatically adding those resource assignments. And then we've got a whole set of reports on resource utilization. So per resource, you can go in, see what they're working on, what their estimated utilization will be, and then you can later compare that to their actual utilization. Second demonstration is going to be really around time, expense, and procurement. In this case, I'm just going to do a subcontracting procurement, but the same things will work for items. So we're going to switch back over. So now that our project is underway, we can start logging some costs against the project. So whether that's travel to the customer, I'm going to log my hours. So to do that, I'm first going to show in the enterprise portal here. So we can go through, and we'll create a new expense report. If there are any unreconciled expenses, so if I've captured any receipts on my phone using our mobile application, they would show up here, and then I could pull them onto the expense report. In this case, I haven't done that. I'm just going to start with the blank expense report. The other thing that we've enabled in the R2 release is we've made it really easy to have intercompany expense reports. So if you're out traveling on behalf of another company, on a project in another company, we've got this flag here that will basically let you select the legal entity on each expense line. In this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add a expense, local expense here. So that was the hotel? Oh, I can't remember. Now we'll put a flight in here. So we'll put a flight and say we traveled emergence, and there was $300 here. And we'll pick that project that we just created. That was our catalog store project. And it'll be a billable expense, and we'll save and close. And then I can submit that here via the enterprise portal. Of course, any expense policies you have, any requirements around itemization is all enforced. Some other enhancements that we've done in the R2 release, the ability to copy expense lines. You can easily copy lines. Better drop-downs, lookup of categories. So a lot of nice enhancements in the expense report. So I think that one's now should be on its way for review. Yeah, so it's been submitted. It's on its way for review. We're going to go ahead and fill out a timesheet as well. So I'm going to do that through the timesheets here. We'll create a new timesheet. Now I can either, in this case, I'm going to submit on behalf of another worker here. So actually, I'm going to pick Ann here. So we're going to submit a time on her behalf. She set that up. And so once again, we've got the ability in R2 to create intercompany timesheets if you're working on projects in another company, and we've set up the correct transfer pricing. We support that. So in this case, we're actually going to copy from her assignments. So it brings in all of the resource assignments, those lines. So this example here, the specific activity from the catalog store, it knows we're working on that, and so we'll put in some time here. 8 and 8. And Ann was really busy this week, so we're going to put in another project here, and we're going to actually report some time against the in the UK sub here. So there's a project over there. There's an ERP implementation, and she worked extra hard on Tuesday, and that'll be billable. So you can create one expense, one timesheet, and really go across both organizations. So I'll submit that. The other thing that's that we've added in the R2 release is the ability to compute what we call the effective labor rate. So in that case, Ann was actually, we have a standard cost for Ann's time, whatever she's came from, we set up in the system. And we can actually adjust that when she works more than her normal capacity. So in this case, she's working 48 hours, so she's actually exceeding the normal calendar. And some people want to be able to adjust the cost according to the actual time that was entered during that timesheet period. So that's in the new version as well. So that's the current, that's Enterprise Portal submitting timesheets. Now, if you went to the AX General Session yesterday, you were able to see another option for entering time that we'll have soon, and that's a new Windows 8 companion app. Sorry about that one. So I've got a surface here, and I'm going to go into the time management just to show you a little bit about what's coming out later this year in this area. So similar functionality, but presented in a much sort of easier to use way. In this case, I've got a timesheet. My current timesheet is 36 hours. This is a single week period, but if I had multiple weeks, it would appear. We've got the calendar view. We've got feedback from users that like to, instead of just having a set of lines, they really like to see their week at a glance because it's a lot easier to be able to make sure that they've got all their time recorded here. So at 12 hours that day. We'll add another item to time entry here, so we'll work another 6 hours, but all the same functionality that we had in the Enterprise Portal here in the Windows 8 app. So we'll add that implementation time, and then I can go collect my time and then submit that. And this works using the Azure Service Bus, so you can record your time, submit it really anywhere here. I can also see the status of my current timesheets. So this one's in review. That one was sent back. I need to make some modifications, and these are approved timesheet. It also works with our Windows 8 approvals application, so that you can also use the tablet to quickly approve timesheets. As I said, that'll be out later this year for existing R2 customers. So we've done some time, we've done some expenses. Let's make sure that all those got posted here. So we're going to go into travel and expense, take a look. So that expense report was approved. We're going to go ahead and post that into the system against the project. We're also going to take a look at the timesheet. So we'll go back into project and take a look at the timesheet. So we see the timesheet that we just filled out for Ann, that 48 hours. And if we take a look at, since that was posted, if we take a look at the actual transactions that were underneath this. One of the things you'll see is that in the cost price has been adjusted. We've adjusted for sales currency. So our UK sub obviously is in, well, in this case they're in pounds, but yeah, that's right, they're in pounds. So it handles all of the both sides of the transaction here. So we've got some here in our US, and then that one is in the UK, and we can actually see, for example, the intercompany cost of that, the intercompany accounting for that particular transaction. So we can see there's an intercompany cost and then the payroll allocation. So you can see both sides of that transaction. So the last thing I'm going to do is go and get some subcontracting work done. So we'll go back to the project list. We'll pick our project here. And let's see, we're going to do a new purchase order. So I could do a purchase requisition. I need some resources. I need some items procured for the project. Send that to a purchasing professional if you've got purchasing to fill out the purchase order. In this case, I'm just going to go do it directly. So we'll pick a vendor here. And we'll say, one of the things that we added in the 2012 release was the ability to procure non-inventoried items and categories of items. So you don't even have to have an item in the item master. Like I say, I just want to get some training here, and we'll get we'll get one training class at $400. And fill out some project details here. So this is, where is it going to go against it'll go against this project that was filled in. I can set what category it goes in. It could be an item or subcontracting, so we'll put that in subcontracting. If it was for a specific item activity in the work breakdown structure, I could fill that out. So in this case, I'm just going to we'll confirm this one. So I've sent it off to the vendor that they're going to do the work for us. This project supports commitment, so that's now a committed cost. It counts against the budget. So if I went back and look at the budget now, I would see that $4,000 that I've already committed to spending. So we've confirmed the purchase order. We're going to go ahead and invoice. So the contractor's done the work. They now send us the invoice, so we're finishing out the transaction here. We'll create a new invoice. And we'll go with ordered quantity. That's fine. So we'll ordered quantity, and then the invoice number and post. So that'll take the committed cost. That'll take the committed cost, transfer the committed cost to an actual cost. Now it's available. If that was that subcontracting fees I wanted to pass on to the customers, that'll show up on the invoice depending on how you're running the project. So that's a little bit about project execution. So some of the enhancements that we did in the R2 release, being able to choose a legal entity on the expense report, easier category lookup, copying expense lines. You can auto-populate. I showed you the work breakdown structure, auto-populating that from the tasks, computing the effective labor rate based on the worker calendar, non-inventory category project purchasing, and as I mentioned, coming soon, so we've got time and expense for Windows Phone. We'll have it soon for iPhone, Android, and I showed you the Windows 8 tablet version. So that's all coming soon. One more demonstration, and then we'll wrap up. So this one's all about invoicing. I'll show you a little bit of invoicing, and then we'll get into sort of the BI and analytics. Whoops. So some of the features that we have added here in R2, we added the ability to request prepayment. So in this case, although our project's already underway, I could actually go out and say, hey, I want to prepay. I don't have to wait till the expenses are incurred. So in this case, it's looking at the budgeted lines, and I can say, hey, I want to take 10% of the budgeted amount overall. So it's going to bill out $2,800, $1,400. So select them all here, and I'll say OK. So those, they'll pull those and create a prepayment for us. So now we've got a new invoice, and this is our new invoice proposal list page we've added, making invoicing a little bit easier. We can open that up. Oh. Go back to the list page here. Invoice proposals. All right, so the invoice proposal is the pro forma invoice. So we've got that one there. I'm just going to go ahead and post. One of the options, we do have workflow for the invoice proposals. If you want to have someone approve the invoice before it goes out to the customer, make sure all the charges are correct, we support that. But we also allow for direct posting. So we enabled just the ability to post it directly. In this case, we'll post it against the... That's fine. We're not going to print it out. And that just sends it to the customer. And now we've got that request for the request for payment, the prepayment. Now has been invoiced. So I can create another invoice proposal. We're just going to go back to our project. We've also allowed for invoice proposals to be created in batch. So we have a batch process. So if you just want to run periodically, collect up all the transactions towards the end of the month, create the invoice proposals and submit them, that can be done in an automated fashion too. In this case, I'm doing everything manually, but we do support batch processing of the invoices. So we've got our project going there. We're going to create a new invoice proposal. So these are all the, based on the contract, all the hours and expenses that we've incurred. So we've got the time, we've got Ann's time. And then we see the reconciliation with the advances. So we can have the net amount here. So they've already prepaid those amounts, so we'll just invoice them for the delta there. So we've got a whole new set of experiences around invoice proposals. You can change the formatting, very flexible. You can group lines together. You can type comments, a lot more flexibility there. If you miss something, someone didn't turn in their time on time, and you want to add it to a proposal that's already been created, so you can add and remove lines as well. That's something new. And in this case, we're just going to, we take a print preview. I'm just going to go ahead and post that as well. So that one's gone off to send to the customer. So we're running the business. We're executing. We're collecting time and expense. We're invoicing. So let's take a quick look at some of the features that we've got to help you understand how the business is doing. So we're going to go to our role center. So we'll hit the home key here and see a couple of new things in the role center. So this is typical role center for a practice manager. So you're getting, we've got new charting capabilities here, so I can see project actual versus forecast. I can see per project how I'm doing. And I can also see time, quickly change over time. This is hours. I could look at cost over time. So really rapid. This is all going against the multidimensional database, so it's really pretty snazzy, pretty quick. We've got a set of KPIs here, and I can add additional KPIs from the project cube or from any of the cubes that are automatically provided in AX. So I can go and say, hey, I want to, we've got a set of KPIs in the project cube. I want to see how we're doing cash flow, gross margin. So you can add that, personalize your role center to have that information. The other thing we've also enabled, so we've got queues, things that are going on. We've also enabled in R2 is integration with SQL Server Power View. So this is actually a Power View report here, and Power View is a really great data visualization. It's easy to use. You can slice and dice data. So here we're just looking at cost of different projects here. I can put this into full screen mode. And it's really easy to edit these reports, to customize them. Great set of visualizations. All of this is hosted in SharePoint. So if I go in and, hey, edit reports, it'll go to the editor here. If I don't want to see, let's see, I don't want to see a chart, we'll change the formatting to, maybe a right bar. So it'll just move things around. So really easy to use. And then all of this is going against the multidimensional databases that we create in Dynamics AX. So a great set of analytics out of the box. Of course, then you can take these, add your own measures, add your own indicators. You can extend what we've done in the base product. So a really nice tool there in Power View. So just to review some of the enhancements here, you saw the new list and details forms for the invoice proposals. You can modify the invoice proposals after created. We have something called on hold, so if you've got a cap on your projects and you don't want the customer doesn't agree to pay over a certain amount for a certain category, we'll hold on to the overage, and then you can renegotiate, and we'll pull that back onto an invoice. Optional workflow, full print management. There's a print management in AX allows you to route invoices to different places, so full integration there. And then the charting, KPIs, Power View reports, a lot of great analytics for the practice manager. So we'll take, I've got about 5 or 10 minutes for questions, and I'll take some questions, and then I'll wrap up. So anyone have any questions of what they've seen? Questions? Someone must have a question. There we go.
We're seeing that the visibility intercompany, does it mean that the project are shared across all companies, so we can start a project on one and do the end at the other one?
So, so the question was about intercompany, whether we support intercompany projects. So the projects are still bound to one legal entity. They just have visibility to other legal entities. So based on setting up transfer pricing and how you've set up the validation, they'll just be visible for employees in other companies to log time against, but they're actually not in those other companies.
I understand. So, but we can have a report or a cube to wrap up all from different company and for a global view.
Yeah. So the cube actually goes across all the companies, so you can get that integrated view from the cube itself and set of reports. So the data is there, just from an operational sense. They're hosted within a single legal entity.
Thank you.
Other questions? One more.
Maybe just address, how do you see this fitting for a large-scale consortium working on engineering projects where you're building bridges, highways, and there's not only subcontractors, but there's multiple partners, multiple companies, like long, big projects.
Right. So the question was about sort of very large-scale projects. We've got the base pieces in the system, I think, out of the box. We've got a really great set of partners as well. So there's several partners down. I won't pick on any one of them because the other ones will get upset, who take the base product and extend into civil engineering, construction, really take what we've done and extend that. So I would say right now that I would take the base product and work with some of those partners. One more question?
Yeah, with the timesheet entry, does it choose the funding source the same way that purchase recs and all about do by looking at the project contract? And then if so, does it commit against the funding sources like the other transactions do?
Yes, so the timesheet works just like any other transaction where based on how you set up the contract and any splits that you've got or any limits, it'll charge accordingly to on the revenue side.
Okay. And then it commits against them before the timesheets are posted?
And it's what? What's that?
Does it do the commitment column?
Yes. So you can do set up in the cost control. You can set up commitments for unposted time. So as soon as they enter in the system, it'll be tracked, and you can report against that.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Well, thanks for those. Just to wrap up, I want to visit our friends at Contoso Consulting here, and now that they've deployed Dynamics AX, they've got really a better handle on their day-to-day operations. They're getting repeatable project plans through the use of templates. They're really leveraging the resources in their new subsidiaries. They've automated their time reporting process. You saw through a variety of devices. And their invoices are more accurate. Their time is getting in, the contract is being adhered to, and their clients are happier, ultimately resulting in happier customers. So I want to thank you for attending, and hopefully you've seen how Dynamics AX really addresses the set of requirements for different project-driven organizations. And our commitment is each year, each time we come visit you, we'll have a new set of capabilities. Over the years, I've met many of you, and hopefully you've seen progress in the product, and we're committed to continuing to make it better and make it great for project-focused companies. So thank you.